efforts to help capture invasive Burmese pythons in the Everglades.
For decades, Florida has battled an invasion of Burmese pythons that has decimated native wildlife, nearly wiping out marsh rabbits, raccoons, even deer. Hunters and even bounty competitions have barely made a dent in the exploding snake population. Now, in a bold twist, Florida wildlife officials have deployed hundreds of robotic rabbits.
Bring in the big boys one drip at a time with the Magnum Scrape Dripper by Wildlife Research Center. Normally drips daytime only to condition bucks to visit during daytime hunting hours. Keep that scrape fresh and working with the Magnum Scrape Dripper by Wildlife Research Center.
Just 2 ingredients. That's all you need to save your brain from dementia and restore crystal clear memory in less than 14 days. Most people have no idea, but Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia are only 12% related to genetics or age. And here's the worst part. It doesn't matter if you're taking donepezil or galantamine. They only mask the symptoms while your brain keeps silently rotting from the inside out. Listen closely. It all starts subtly, forgetting names, appointments, where you put your wallet.
To lure the elusive predators and remove them for good. But here's the question. Will these machines finally outsmart the pythons? Or will the snakes adapt in ways no one expected? How we got here. The Florida Everglades is one of the most unique ecosystems in the United States. A vast wetland of sawgrass marshes, cypress forests, and winding waterways once alive with raccoons, bobcats, marsh rabbits, and wading birds. But in the late 20th century, a predator unlike any other took root, the Burmese python. It wasn't migration. It was a human mistake. In the 1980s and 90s, Burmese pythons were imported as exotic pets. Hatchlings fit in our hand, but soon grew into muscular 15 to 20-foot predators that required massive enclosures and live prey. Many owners underestimated the snake's size and strength, and some were intentionally released when they became too large to handle. Others escaped during disasters, like Hurricane Andrew in 1992, which destroyed reptile warehouses in South Florida and unleashed their occupants into the swamp. The Everglades proved to be a paradise. With no natural predators and a warm climate mirroring Southeast Asia, the snakes thrived. A single female Burmese python can lay between 50 and 100 eggs each year. Biologists believe tens of thousands now roam South Florida's wetlands. The ecological impact has been staggering. Native small mammal populations have collapsed in areas heavily occupied by pythons. Studies conducted by the U.S. Geological Survey and the University of Florida revealed that raccoon and opossum sightings in certain areas dropped by more than 90%. Marsh rabbits, once abundant, have nearly vanished from many regions in the Everglades. Bobcats, foxes, and even deer and alligators are not safe. There are documented cases of pythons preying on adult deer and even challenging alligators for dominance in the marsh. The entire food chain has buckled under their advance. For hunters, the fight has been nearly impossible. The Everglades spans 1.5 million acres of dense, swampy terrain where pythons vanish into mud and reeds. They're nocturnal, masters of camouflage, and reproduce faster than they can be caught. Removal programs, bounties, and even competitions have made headlines, but barely dented the population. The threat extends beyond the Everglades. There is growing concern that with warming temperatures, their territory could stretch farther north in Florida and potentially into other southern states. Agencies have already spent millions on removal programs, public outreach, and research to manage the python crisis, but every captured snake feels like a temporary victory. This is no longer just a local nuisance. It's one of America's most stubborn wildlife crises. And that reality has forced Florida into experiments that sound less like biology and more like science fiction. What began with hunters and bounty checks has now led to an astonishing new strategy. One that turns the marsh rabbit, the python's favorite prey, into the blueprint for a weapon. A weapon made not of flesh and blood, but of sensors, wires, and solar-powered circuits. Before robotic rabbits entered the fight, the state unleashed hunters and prize money into the swamp, with shocking lessons. People, prizes, and the limits of the bounty approach. Long before Florida experimented with high-tech solutions, the state tried almost every conventional method imaginable to rid the Everglades of Burmese pythons. From professional bounty hunters to amateur competitions, Wildlife agencies poured money, manpower, and energy at a predator that simply refuses to yield. What they discovered is part cautionary tale, part spectacle. In 2013, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission launched the first ever Python Challenge, a public hunting competition. The event invited ordinary citizens, provided basic training on snake identification and safety, and sent them out into the swamps for a limited period. Cash prizes were awarded for the longest python and for the most snakes captured. The event made international.
Yo, Miss W. Yo. What's up? No, I'm just using the pythons and everything. Good idea though that they're using with the robots to kill the pythons. But they're going to do. We're going to use the robots in America to take care of some of the honkies out here. Some of these people trespassing or whatever they're doing, their witchery and sorcery or whatever. Satan himself, we're beheading in town, and sell. We're probably going to sell tickets. All right. So what they're doing is they're using robots to try and kill off the pythons because the pythons have overtaken everything, folks. The animals have taken over everything. The snakes, the devil, whatever you want to call it, it's taken over everything. So they're using these robot devices to trick them. They eat them, and the next thing you know, boom, right? They die. So let's see what Debbie's saying. Confused me. What? Live, I was like, what? Yeah, well, it's a metaphor of the government is now hunting terrorist snakes within the government, all colors. All glory goes to God, amen. And you know what we say here, much like Sheriff Grady down there in Florida, always shoot first, ask questions later. They would have to have trillions of fake buddies. We're using prostitutes. That's what we're using. Well, we found out that these guys are trafficking women and turn them into prostitutes. So we're using robot prostitute women to lure these people in, these clubs. And then the robot woman, once they kidnap them and turn them into their love bitch or housemaid or whatever, it goes boom. And so that's what we're doing here. Yeah, the war might be over in that country over there, but it's still thriving here in America. And then we're also looking at the Idaho 4 case, which now they're saying that one of the family or one of the victims' family member was deep psyop, Cyrock, CIA or something like that with Tucker Carlson, which that's a shocker, right? Everybody thought he was a good old Irish boy, but his family deep into the CIA, psyop, Cyrock, CIA, and so it's crazy. But that's the country we live in. Is crazy. Terrorists, many groups hunting them down. We're using robot kids, robot prostitute women, just robot women, because we know these guys, that's how they survive, right? That's how they survive. And we're kicking them out because they're trying to charge people money for safety. And we're like, open fire on them, right? They're terrorists. They're on this list, right? They're watching them in here, even in this complex. So even in this little town, terrorist. I don't know what to tell you. I don't run the show. The government does, and the CIA. It's obvious. Let me see what little Debbie's saying. We'll kill trillions of them. Trillions. If we have to make trillions of robot women and kids and robot meth and guns and everything to do it, we will. It's going to work out fine. It's like catching rats, right? Or poisoning rats or whatever they call it. I don't know. Bunch of crazies, but hey, Chicago Bears won, and they looked pretty dang good. pretty dang good. Right? The past 4 games, pretty good. I mean, I don't know if we're going to the Super Bowl, but I'll tell you what, they looked good. They looked good. All right. Anything else, Debbie, you want to say? It's all metaphor. It's all going down. Right? Richard Wolf and everyone's side. It's all going down. It sure is, because we're tired of being held hostage, and we're tired of being poor, and we're tired of all the bad health care and everything. It's going down okay. I can tell you that much. They're definitely going down with it. How jiggity diggity are they going to get? I don't know. They're using sickness. They're using all kinds of. We're just bringing in robots. I will not put the American people in harm's way. So we'll send in our robot prostitutes. And we know it'll work. So that's why we're doing it. That's right. Alien technology within human flesh. Deal with it. If you people weren't out there casting spells and using demonic stuff and trespassing and stuff, we wouldn't have to destroy the world. But now we have to, because you're all nut jobs. So that's just the way it is, I guess. All right. You folks have a good night. I'm cooking a cake. It is done. I got to pull it out of the oven. And I'm folding clothes. I had to do laundry. Miss Debbie, don't worry. We'll kill all these snake python idiots. All under the Constitution war crime sanctions. And there'll be no prosecution for us. I'll tell you that much. All right. You folks have a great day. God bless. Peace over in the Middle East. And we've just begun the war in America. Yeah, we've been effed in the butt way too long, and payback's a bitch. Now, have a good night. God bless America. And remember, open fire. Buy as many as weapons as you can, folks. Defend yourself. When towns are corrupt and taken over by evil, you shoot first, like the sheriffs and everyone else is telling us, and ask questions later. No justification for us. War has begun. Have a great day. God bless everybody. And you've been watching Johnny Kramer, the Music Movie Channel. Where is it real or is it Memorex? I don't know, nor do I care. Have a good day.